What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we're going to keep going down the Wes Watson rabbit hole, the cringe alpha male rabbit hole, and let's see what he has to say, and I'll give my commentary, and we'll see if we agree or we disagree or what's going on with this guy. But everyone hates him online. If you go to his Instagram, it's full of people saying, like, STFU, you're cringe, this, that, and he's constantly replying to the haters and constantly replying to the people that rag on him. They call it gadooshing on him. So yeah, let's check it out.
So I posted a clip on my Instagram, and it was on 420 about how fuck smoking weed, that weed is bad for you, it hinders your growth. Weed never made anyone better at anything. But I'm not just saying weed, motherfucker. When I talk about a vice.
Well, I don't agree with going overboard on drinking, smoking, vaping, getting high, anything like that, anything that's unproductive, anything that has to do with leisure time. But it's not good to be holier than thou. Everybody has their thing. I personally have never been drunk in my whole life. I do drink. I go out with friends and I'll have a beer, a drink, maybe two. I'll feel a little giggly, a little tipsy, and I'll stop. I've never been to the point where it's like, whoa, this guy's messed up. I get him home. Never, ever in my whole life. Okay. Um, but a lot of people smoke weed and go about their day, go about their life. Uh, I'm not gonna say that I support it, that I condone it, but it's not that serious, man. Rob Van Dam, okay, one of the greatest. He's always been a mid card in WWE, but he's fantastic. Everybody loves him. But Rob Van Dam was high as a kite during all his entire career, and this guy is a legend, and he's athletic, and he's rich, and he's jumping off of stuff, and I know that's an outlier. I know that what he means is like you're smoking weed to hang out all day and do nothing with your life. I understand that. But while I do agree that that's bad, there's a lot of people that smoke and just go about their day and they're productive. Um, but he's a little right here. Vices are not good.
The problem with vices, do you guys understand what the problem with a vice is? A vice is weed, alcohol, porn, any overconsumption of food. I mean, anything you run to avoid facing a problem head on. So that's the whole thing behind it, is every time you would be forced to solve a problem internally that was painful, that you were frustrated with, these are the times. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, the list goes on. Any of these states that are not desirable states that humans are in, people run to alcohol, weed, pills, porn, excessive consumption of bullshit entertainment. You run to the vices during these times. Boredom leads to desire, leads to vices. If you ever want to get any true growth in
Constantly trying to distract yourself from the problems that you need to face in whatever it is in your life. Constantly trying to distract yourself is bad. I do have to agree there. It is bad to constantly have to distract yourself, but you know, you can't really speak in absolutes. You can't really speak in this like holier than thou. I'm the arbiter of truth. I'm the arbiter of morality and nobility. When this guy's obviously has vices. So people have pointed out he's like a some kind of horny freak guy. Always talking about how he's banging his girl and this and that, and he's obviously addicted to getting tattoos. I don't know if he's on performance enhancers, but people on performance enhancers aren't they like pinning themselves 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week with different stuff? Okay. I believe I watched Dave Palumbo, RX Muscle. I think growth hormone, you got to pin yourself every other day. Testosterone, you got to pin yourself like twice a week or something like that. So that's right there. That's let's just say he's pinning himself three times a week with stuff, and he's a sex addict, and he's a tattoo addict, right? So he has stuff himself where can be labeled as vices, right? So sometimes you got to really be careful when you're talking like, you know, trust me, I'm the guy you can trust. It's like, dude, we all got skeletons in our closet. We all do things. Like, I'm an occasional drinker. I don't do any drugs, and I like the vape, hookah too, but no drugs at all. I've never been drunk, but I'm not the like, I'm not here. Like, you can't really judge someone else when we are all flawed as humans. This is why I always say you gotta like seek God. Always seek God. Don't seek these heroes online or whatever these guys are.
This life. If you ever want to achieve any higher level of consciousness, you have to what? What do you have to do? You have to suffer, motherfucker. Your guys' lives are too easy. Anytime you're about to be in an undesirable state, you just roll up a blunt. You just go eat something. You go drink something. You never have to face it. That's why I grew so much in prison, because I was forced to face the pain. When I wanted to leave the cell, couldn't. When I wanted to talk to someone that would make me feel loved, make me feel connected, I had to fucking stomach the fact that I wasn't getting on the phone. I mean, I had to face it within. When I had to suffer and face it within, what would happen? I would open this gateway. As Angie would say, you would ask for.
Um. Okay. First of all, why is he pointing to his girl as a an authority figure? I believe in being charming to women. I believe in, you gotta, be funny and do, be chivalrous to a degree, right? To buy him a gift if she deserves it, she's being good. But I never point at my girl as a point of authority. What the heck is that? That's number one. Number two, this glorification of going to prison, it needs to stop. Like, a lot of times it seems like these guys go to prison and they make it like, I passed like Green Beret, like Navy SEAL boot camp, and you could trust me because I've been through the trenches of the most hardest elite training that you can ever receive. Like, dude, we shouldn't glorify prison at all. Um, but he is right where he says like you really need to you can't fall into temptation. You need to sit there and face whatever it is that you are going through, and not run to comfort. Always running to comfort yourself with something. So he is right there. He is making a good point.
God's understanding of the event. But I would just be looking for that download, that growth, that gem that's going to get me through it. And what would happen? I'd be sitting there just desiring human connection, even to talk to my mom or my girl at the time or a friend. And I couldn't, because we were on lockdown and there was no phone available. We couldn't get on the day room phone, nothing. We couldn't do any of this. So what happened is I would have to come up with a mental failsafe that saved me. Instead of running to that comfort, that freedom, it's not a vice to talk to someone, but I was facing a painful event. So most people, instead of coming up with a fail-safe mentally, they would go smoke a joint because they couldn't talk to their family members. Or they would bang some heroin because they couldn't talk to their family members. Or they're like, fuck it, let's drink. They would go into any vice that was readily available so they didn't have to face that pain of missing their loved ones. So what did I do? I had to drift internally and find mental strength. How did I find mental strength? I created belief systems and fail-safes, and I put.
There it is. You know what this guy reminds me of? This guy reminds me of like the Daily Wire, with Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and all those guys over there, where they'll give you a good, reasonable video regarding social dynamics between different groups, and why lower taxes is better than higher taxes, and why patriotism is good. They'll give you a good video, and like PragerU and all that stuff. They'll give you a good video on American values and stuff like that, and then once they got you in with the good video about low taxes and legal immigration. Then here comes the hook, which is you need to DIE for Israel. That's your goal in life. That is your purpose in life. You need to always support and support and support Israel. It's like, dude, I thought I was watching a video about low taxes. Like, where did this come from? And that's like this guy's whole shtick, which is I'm gonna give you reasonable, good advice, on how to change your life, on how to be more masculine, on how to be more manly, on let go of these bad things or whatever. And then I'm gonna boom put my coaching program in there so that you could buy it. And a lot of people are exposing him online that people sign up to his program and he'll just like, thanks for the money, bro. He'll run away with the money. And I know what it's like to I'm older now, so I don't really fall for this stuff, but I know what it's like to be a younger guy and like glorify some cool guy online. Like I personally did it with Rich Piana. But Rich Piana was a genuine guy. You know, I bought all his supplements. I didn't really buy the clothes, but I bought all his supplements because I was genuinely invested. Like, this guy's so cool. He's so like, I love his videos, and that's what this guy does. He makes a good video with some down to earth good advice, and then boom, coaching program. Right, support Israel. Right, makes a good little video about patriotism and low taxes and stuff like that, and then you need to support Israel, right? They add that in the video.
In front of the problem. So the problem was I couldn't talk to him. And then I would just tell myself, it doesn't matter. I love them anyways, and I'm just going to send them love. And I would start working out, and I would really just be releasing to them what I wanted to possess inside. Because what you release externally, you possess internally. What you release most completely, you possess most completely. And so I knew at that time that I was fully in control of my emotional state. You guys aren't, because you run to weed, because you run to alcohol, because you run to drugs, because you run to food. I still do it out here sometimes. When I'm real pissed, I'm like, fuck it, I just want to eat. And I'll just go eat. And I'll eat too much. You guys do it. Food is the hardest one. Food is the most impossible one to break, because you don't need to smoke. You don't need to drink. You don't need to do drugs. You don't need to do any of these other things. But you gotta eat. So when you start eating, you just over fucking do it. And it's everywhere. And it's not looked at as a problem. So what are you guys doing? What are you running to instead of facing your reality? Because the reality was, I was too weak to handle the situation at hand, that I couldn't do something I wanted to do. And that's the strength. When you desire something, can you withhold it? That's where mental strength is created. When you desire something, can you deny yourself of that? So when you're really hungry dieting and you deny the food and you just eat your macros, you build mental strength. When you really want to sleep in and you deny yourself that pleasure, you build mental strength. When you deny yourself the release of sexual pleasure by looking at porn because you no longer believe in even supporting that or watching it or polluting your mind with that, you build mental fucking strength. And I'm showing you guys over and over again with these.
So, I mean, what bad could you really say about everything that he's saying? Once again, I think that it's just like, I'm gonna make a good video of general advice. I'm gonna add my own bravado into it. I'm gonna add my own, masculine attitude into it, where people, it'll attract some eyes, and then I'm gonna get you to sign up for my I don't know, people are saying that this guy's charging 30, 40 thousand dollars for some program or something like that, or he'll break it down into month to month payments, or and and then he just runs away with the money. And I think that that's why people are falling for it, because I personally uh, fell for that, but not really, because I didn't get scammed. But I fell for uh, a larger than life type of guy who's so cool, who I want to support, and that was Rich Piana. So I get it. I get why. People support this guy. If you know the supporters that he has, I get it. Because I was once a young kid, like looking up to like some older, jacked, cool, tattooed guy. But now that I'm older, I see, this looks a little silly. Being this way is like a little cringe. Going around MF this, MF that. The whole tattoo thing and the like these big muscular guys. Have you ever seen them like wearing like a nice suit, a nice button up? Now, I'm not saying you can't be athletic and look good in formal like dress attire, but a lot of these big dudes, if they wear like a nice button up, a nice suit, they just look silly. They look like so once you get older, you start seeing that this overly muscular, tattooed, MF this, MF that guy is just kind of cringe. And it's kind of like, we don't need this. We don't need more people like this. Do we need, more masculine guys who stand up for others, who, they push forward, who defend, their family and stuff like that? Do we need more of that? Yes. Okay, do we need guys who are willing to, stand up to for like what's wrong, or evildoers? Yeah, yes, we do need more of that. But we don't need more of tattooed alpha male type guys that go around, MF this, MF that, cursing, and then giving you a nice little positive message so that then they can hook you into their whatever they're selling.
Daily habits and the extinguishing of all vices, why it makes you a mentally stronger person. Why the fuck do you think you need mental toughness? Because life's coming. Something's gonna fucking happen. There's no way you're gonna make it through life without losing a family member. There's no way you're gonna make it through life without going from one fucking notch on the ladder to a lower one at some point. We've all been through it, and I think those are the best times. I think those tests reveal a man to himself. So I've always said adversity reveals a man to himself. Have you had enough? All these bitches online who create problems online, who are looking for problems online with people, they don't have any real problems. They're doing nothing to where they're looking for a negative interaction with someone. That's when you know you're at the worst point in life. When you start to really have problems, you overlook a lot of shit. Like when you're like, oh fuck, I got some shit to deal with. You overlook a lot of shit. The guy can honk at you and flip you off. Whatever, bro. Like, keep looking for small issues. I'm actually fucking building big things right now. And when you're building something big, you're running into big problems. The quicker you move, the more mistakes are made. And you have to move quick. And you have to clean up these mistakes as you go. This is the reality of it. People are like, mistakes? Please make more of them. More mistakes equals more wisdom. I love you guys. Just make sure you realize.
So there's the video of Wes Watson going down the alpha male cringe um, rabbit hole, and that's basically the shtick. The shtick is tell you what you want to hear, then sell you, to sign up for my coaching or whatever. And if you find a coach out there that has reasonable pricing, they have testimonials and all of that. I'm not gonna say that that's bad to do that, but I heard him. He was talking about the haters online and stuff like that. He created those haters online because when he started like scamming people out of money, it attracted a lot of people to go to his page and say, "Whoa, you're a scammer! You're a scammer! You're a bad guy!" Allegedly a scammer, right? I'm not gonna say that definitively that he's a scammer, but yeah, so he attracted his own haters by doing bad stuff. So yeah, I'm not gonna say supporting someone you like, supporting their T-shirt, their supplement line. They have donation, uh, 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 super chats or whatever, or a coach. I'm not gonna say that any of that is bad, but be very careful and make sure that the price is right and you can afford it, and it's you've done the research on it. Don't just fall for some guy who you think is cool and you're just gonna fork over money. That's not good. A lot of scammers out here. Anyways, guys, there's the alpha male rabbit hole. We'll there's like a whole bunch of these guys. Apparently, there's like a whole bunch of these tattooed trash talking alpha male guys. So we'll see if we go down this rabbit hole. Anyways, love you guys. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one, and I'm out.